In a world where you can be literally anything that you can possibly imagine, why not be authentically yourself? In a world full of unoriginality, you've got broke people on the internet trying to look rich. You've got suburban kids trying to look like they're from the hood. You've got foolish people on the internet trying to look wise. In a world full of so much unoriginality, so many people trying to be something not of themselves, why not just be yourself? And I feel like that phrase of be yourself is probably one of the most commonly given phrases ever. And everybody just expects you to understand what that means. Everybody just expects you to listen to that and actually apply it to your life. You know, this person tells you to be yourself. This self-improvement YouTuber tells you to be yourself. Your mother tells you to be yourself. Everybody's telling you to be yourself. But I feel like people aren't understanding how complex that concept actually is. Being yourself sounds so simple. It sounds like it's a linear concept, but I feel like people aren't taking into account that sometimes we don't even know what ourselves look like. We don't really know what being ourselves could possibly mean to us. So I wanted to talk about why it's so difficult to be yourself, the importance of being yourself, and how to actually get to that point where you can act like yourself. If not knowing who you are wasn't enough to make that entire concept kind of confusing, then I feel like the internet and seeing things on social media and just seeing things around you makes it just that much more confusing. Nowadays, you can go on social media and see 1,000 different lifestyles that you want to replicate, 1,000 different lifestyles that might trick you into thinking that you resonate with that, but in all actuality, you don't resonate with any of that. And I want to bring it back to what I said at the very beginning of this video, where I said in a world where you can be anything that you can possibly imagine, you can possibly think of, why not be authentically yourself? And I feel like I'm a heavy believer in the fact that we as people have the ability and the mental capacity to envision something and then create our lives in that vision. I full-heartedly and genuinely believe that we as people can turn our lives into anything that we put our minds to. And although this is such an important aspect of our lives, this is something that is going to grow us and benefit us in the long scheme of things, I feel like it's also such a dangerous aspect of our lives, especially now, especially with the entire idea of trying to just be yourself. Since I believe that our minds are powerful enough to turn our lives into anything that we think of. And this can be literally anything that you believe in. It can be manifestation, prayer through God, or just the universe being good to you. But all of those ideas and all of those concepts are similar in the fact that we can turn our lives into anything that we want with those things. And it's so hard to be that authentic version of yourself, especially with social media. It's like you have so many influences trying to tell you exactly what you should do with your life, what you should be with your life. You go on social media, you see a lifestyle from this influencer that you want to replicate. You go on real life, you walk outside, you see the lifestyle of this guy that you want to replicate. And it might even be in your inner circle. You see these lifestyles that you want to replicate. In a world where you can be anything that you can possibly imagine, if you look at these things and you convince yourself that that's the lifestyle that you want to live, even though it's not authentic to yourself, your mind has the power to envision that and then turn it into your actual reality. And from the outside looking in, to an extent, that doesn't necessarily sound bad at all. That sounds awesome. We can replicate a lifestyle that we want to live and then make it our own. But I feel like we've got to think about that just a little bit deeper. For example, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who said that they would never drink, they would never smoke, they would never overly party. That person has a strong sense of who they are. They understand their values and their morals. But it's like they go on the internet and they see this lifestyle, their friends going out to party. They see them having a great time drinking. They see them having a great time relaxed, smoking. And eventually at the same time, they want to replicate what they're saying on social media. They want to replicate that chill personality from when you smoke. They want to replicate that carefree attitude from when you drink. So although that person had a strong sense of values, understanding who they were, understanding what being authentically themselves meant to them, now they're kind of changing their mentality. Now they're kind of changing who they want to be to replicate a different lifestyle. So yeah, obviously it doesn't take a genius to recognize how difficult it is to actually be yourself, especially with all the influences and all the voices in your ears trying to tell you to be something that you already know you're not going to resonate with. But I guess this video is somewhat a reminder of the importance of being yourself, the importance of being authentically who you want to be and who you were destined to be. I feel like every single person on this planet is made here for a specific reason. I feel like we all have this calling, we all have this purpose that is going to provide value to other people, is going to provide value to ourselves. But I feel like when you're not authentically yourself, when you don't have that sense of originality, you're kind of wasting your life's purpose away. And I want to tell a personal story that can really explain and emphasize what I mean by that. Before I started this channel, for about 2 or 3 months, I've always had the idea and the vision of starting this channel. But there were things in my past that made me scared to pick up a camera and made me kind of fearful of what the next person was going to say about my YouTube channel. At the time, and even now, the people around me weren't necessarily in this niche of YouTube. So I felt like by me posting, I would be standing out. It wasn't necessarily the cool thing to do. So I was kind of fearful to even start this channel. So ironically, I had this fear of originality. I had this fear of standing out and doing the things that I knew would be authentic to myself. But eventually I started to step out my comfort zone. I started to be authentically myself. I started to post because I knew that that would be authentic to who I am as a person. So fast forward to about a year, I've reached hundreds of thousands of people. I've got hundreds of DMs of people telling me that I've helped them, I've saved their lives, and I've impacted them in a way that I could really only dream of back then. Even though me starting this channel was a scary idea, it was a scary concept since I was standing out the way I was, that originality and me authentically becoming myself has helped me spread my message to hundreds of thousands of people. It's helped me reach more people than I can even think of. So with that being said, I feel like every single person on this planet has a purpose. Everybody has an intention with what they're on this planet for. And not only do you do a disservice to yourself, but you're doing a disservice to other people if you're not authentically yourself. Like, imagine the disservice I would be doing to other people if I didn't choose to pick up a camera one day, knowing that this is something that I was passionate about, knowing that this is something that I knew could help people in the long run. So in a world full of people doing anything for popularity, for attention, for money, be authentically yourself. Because I promise you, that attention, that's gone. That's gonna go away eventually. You've always got an opportunity to make money, and then half the time, that's gone too. And then popularity, you can lose that as quickly as you gain it. So with all of those things that people chase that are seemingly meaningless, it's like they run towards one thing and then run away from the other. In this scenario, you're running for the attention, the money, the popularity, the cool thing to do, the popular approach, and then you're running away from that authentic version of yourself, chasing those things. So in a world full of people that chase all of these meaningless, purposeless things, be that one person that's going to stand out and chase their authentic self and be their authentic self. Because that's the easy route. Doing everything that everybody else is doing, that is the easy route to take. But being yourself, that's difficult. It's challenging. And those challenging and difficult things are the one things that people can't take from you. But like I said, that concept of being yourself is so difficult. It's so challenging. But I feel like that's because most people don't even know who they are. Most people don't know what being themselves authentically even looks like. And I talked about all the influences and all the voices of people trying to seemingly tell you what you should be, tell you what your authentic self looks like. You know, even since birth, you've got people telling you who you should be. You've got your parents telling you who you should be. Fast forward a little bit, you're in school, you're around thousands of people that are going to consistently try to project their own values onto you, their own vices onto you. You know, you've also got the teachers trying to tell you how you should behave. With all of these voices and all of these influences, how can you possibly figure out who you are, like what that authentic version of yourself even begins to look like? I think in order to truly find who you are, you need a sense of isolation. You need to be by yourself without the influences, without all the voices in your ears telling you what to be. You need to ask yourself a few questions. Who do I want to be? What is going to be my impact, and how am I going to do that? How am I going to get there? And I don't mean give some BS answer that you're going to think of in 20 seconds. I mean actually genuinely think of those questions, think of your answer, and think of how you're going to get to that point. Because eventually I started to realize that when you realize what your impact is, when you realize what you actually want to do on this planet, every single one of your actions is going to mirror that. Every action that you take is going to reflect that person that you want to be and that impact that you want to leave on the world. For example, if you want to just make somebody smile, you're not going to go out and gossip and be rude to somebody because you're focused on fulfilling that purpose that you had. If you want to go to the NFL or something, you're not going to sit there and, drink every single day. You're not going to smoke every single day because you know that your body needs to be in top shape if you want to get to that point that you want to be at. When you start to genuinely reflect on what you want to do with your life, that's when you start to do things that are going to mirror that. So yeah, even though that is such a difficult concept, just understanding how to be authentically yourself, I want you to kind of take that as homework. Take those questions and reflect on yourself and reflect on that person that you want to be. But as always, I'm curious on what you guys discover. So whatever that is, whatever that might be, leave it in the comment section below. I can't wait to read your comments. If you disagree with anything in this video, if you have any different perspectives, different ideas that you want me to read, please leave it in the comments section, because I love reading the comments. I love seeing all the different perspectives. And I just appreciate the fact that you thought about what I said in general. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.